I have no idea where this vlog's gonna go, but I have a bunch of things I want to share with you. And number one is my recent and maybe even lifelong obsession with ABBA. Yes, the Swedish band from the 70s. I am so obsessed. And I think it all started recently when I went to see the sequel to the movie Mamma Mia.
Mamma Mia, here I go again.
10 years later, they came out with Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again. And I gotta be honest with you, the movie, the second one, a little cheesy. I was just not that into it within the first 20 minutes, but then it started to get pretty decent. Where does this come from? Well, first of all, there's the nostalgia reason of loving ABBA. As a kid, I grew up in the late 70s, early 80s, and I'll never forget my parents on one Christmas bought me a boombox. Do you guys remember boomboxes? These big, huge, gigantic plastic contraptions with speakers on each side that you could detach, and it had the cassette player. Yep, I had me one of those. It was awesome. And the very first cassette tape I ever received, I believe it was called ABBA Gold. And I fell in love with ABBA. Now, back in those days, if you had music, you pretty much listened to what you owned. And because it was the only cassette I owned at the time, I listened to it over and over again. I think I remember eventually getting Huey Lewis and the News and some other cassettes, but ABBA will always play a special role in my heart because that music is the music that set the theme for my childhood, and those were really awesome days. Days where I was dreaming about the future, I was dreaming about what I was going to do the next day. Life was always awesome, and when I hear those tunes, when I hear those songs, it brings me back to a simpler time in life, but an exciting time of life where just about anything and everything I could ever want to do is still before me. And so, I gotta tell you, I love ABBA. Now, when they came out with the movie, the original movie, Mamma Mia, Stephanie and I saw it in the theater.
Is your father here?
You tell me. Did I ever let you go? Mamma Mia. Now I really know.
And I had no idea what to expect, but all of a sudden I remember really digging the approach that they took to the songs and how it was written to a script and a storyline, and I thought that was intriguing. And yes, I know it was based upon the musical, the Broadway musical Mamma Mia. I had never seen that and still haven't to this day, although I will tell you I now will see Mamma Mia, probably on Broadway, because I'm currently obsessed with ABBA, and I'll tell you why. So I loved the movie. I'll never forget the very first time when we saw it in the theater, Stephanie and I, and Pierce Brosnan starts singing one of the ABBA songs.
Where are those happy days? They seem so hard to find. I try to reach for you, but you have closed your mind. Whatever happened to our love? I wish I understood.
I literally laughed out loud. Now, I have no right to laugh because I can't carry a tune in a bucket. I mean, it's just, singing is not within me. But I laughed out loud. But at the same time, I fell in love with that version of the song, Pierce Brosnan singing some of those songs, and so with the rest of the cast. I loved the first movie, Mamma Mia, so much so that when it was available for purchase on iTunes, I bought that movie. And I will have to admit to you, and I'm not ashamed to admit to you, that I've seen the movie Mamma Mia at least 30 to 50 times over the past decade. I love Mamma Mia. I love ABBA more than I love the movie, but I love the movie as well. Fast forward to just recently, went and saw the movie. Hadn't really thought about it a whole lot, about my obsession, about, my love for ABBA. But after seeing this movie, I was kind of conflicted. How do I feel about this? And some people were saying, hey Cliff, what did you think about the movie? I said, it's kind of cheesy for the first 20 minutes. If you're a real diehard ABBA fan and you really enjoyed the first movie, I think you'll be happy that you watched the second movie. And I even said to several people, I said, I'm glad I went. I don't know that I'll ever watch the sequel again, but I will always go back and watch the original Mamma Mia movie. And it's kind of cool to have the backstory and a little bit of what happens after the original movie. And now that I've had time to think about it, I actually will see the sequel again. Because there were some songs that were sung in the sequel that were ABBA songs quite frankly, I'd never heard of. They weren't on my cassette tape back in the days, and well, I just didn't know some of the songs, and I think that probably had a lot to do with why those songs didn't reach out to me as much in the early part of the movie. Now I want to go back, because here's what's happened since then. I've actually gone into Apple Music and created myself an ABBA playlist with all of my ABBA songs that I liked, and I started doing YouTube searches for interviews with the folks of ABBA, the artists. Now, I happen to know now things that I didn't know before. I did not know what ABBA stood for. And it's actually the first name of each of the artists in the group. So you have Agneta, Bjorn, Benny, and Anna-Frita. I'm excited to know that now. I know that sounds crazy, but I'm excited to know that back history. I'm also excited to know that they're from Stockholm, Sweden. I knew that they were a Swedish band because that's all people talk about. It's like the Swedish band ABBA, blah, blah, blah. But I learned that it's Stockholm, Sweden that they're from. And I happen to have a very close personal friend who lives in Stockholm, Sweden. So there's that connection. And I can't wait to run into my friend Rick Lindberg to ask him the next time, hey, do you ever run into any of the folks from ABBA? I don't know. He'll probably think I'm crazy and it's like, oh gosh, you Americans and your obsession with ABBA. So I have no idea, but it's going to be interesting. Rick, look forward to that conversation. Rick is a member of the Next Level Mastermind and incredible guy. So I'm watching these interviews, and I'm watching interviews from back in the day, back when they were in the height of all of their celebrity status. I've been watching interviews from them, 7 years into it, 10 years later, all of that stuff. I've been watching the interviews with the artists of ABBA since the new movie came out, the new sequel. And it's been absolutely fascinating to learn the story behind ABBA. Now, why am I obsessed with ABBA? I told you there's the music, but there's more. See, guys, I gotta tell you, there is something within me. There is a dream and a vision I have of the future. And I've been talking about it a lot now, but it used to be something that scared me to talk about in public. And that is the fact that I believe that one day I will stand in front of tens of thousands of people in stadiums. Not to sing, promise you, I'm sure you guys don't want to hear me sing. But I do believe I'll be standing on a stage, lights shining on me, and there will be tens of thousands of people there that actually came to my event. Not my concert, but my conference, where I'm going to be sharing messages that I feel led to teach people, and that I've got other people in my community and my peers that I want to bring in to teach messages as well. And so here is a group of people who wrote songs in their homes, and they created 22 #1 hit singles back in a day when that's just unheard of. Over 26 million albums sold. Crazy. And not only that, but it spans generations. The people in the 70s loved it. My mom and dad, their generation loved ABBA. My generation loves ABBA. The generation right after me loves ABBA. Get this, my youngest child, 13 years old, she loves ABBA. What is it about ABBA that made them the success that they are? Now, am I looking to duplicate their success in creating gold records? No. But am I looking for what patterns of success existed for them? What did they do? What was their experience? What kind of decisions and what kind of practice and what kind of connections and what led them to the place where they achieved the success that they have? One thing I know is this: once you recognize the power of patterns, you can apply the success in any one area of life and apply those success principles to any other area of life. And yeah, there's a lot of correlation between the success that ABBA had achieved in reaching people. They say, thank you for the music, the songs I'm singing. Thank you for the joy they're bringing.
So I say thank you for the music, the songs I'm singing. Thanks for all the joy they're bringing.
And I'm listening to that song as I was working out at the gym, And I'm like, thank you for the words, thank you for my voice, the words I'm speaking. Thank you for the joy they're bringing, the hope they're bringing. I'm literally rewriting ABBA lyrics in my head while I'm at the gym. I know, I'm obsessed and I'm crazy, but it's this kind of crazy obsession about things that excite me, that give me great joy, that give me great passion, that has helped me understand what it is that leads some people to success when other people only dream about it. And that's what I want to teach other people how to do. That's why I'm creating Free the Dream. That's why I want to put tens of thousands of people into stadiums and teach them the things that I've learned that has helped me get obsessed about something and be okay with it, even if it's something like ABBA. So what have I been doing? I've been watching tons of YouTube videos, interviews of ABBA. I found a concert, an hour and 30-minute long video on YouTube that is a mashup between two concerts, ABBA Live and ABBA Live in Wembley. And it's an incredible concert, and I'll probably watch that concert 5 or 6 more times while working out at the gym because it just energizes me, and I love seeing the crowds of people, the thousands of people there.
Very glad to see you. I'll tell you one thing, you make us forget the rain. I just hope that we can make you forget it too.
It's one of the reasons why I'm excited to go to concerts with my wife. This week we're going to Zac Brown concert, and I just purchased her front row tickets to Taylor Swift in Indianapolis, and I can't wait to go because these stadium events just gets me jazzed up and fired up for what I believe is a part of my future. But not only am I watching these interviews, which, you know, that's the thing that just the general public gets to see, but I just purchased an audiobook on Audible. See, this is how deep I like to go. It's a 26-hour audiobook titled Bright Lights, Dark Shadows, the story of ABBA. And it tells about the fact that all of them had a decade of relative success prior to actually banding together and creating ABBA. But it also talks about their childhood and some of the pain and suffering that they had to get through and overcome in their life. And I can't wait to dig in. I can't wait to dig in, to get into the heart of the motivating forces of pain and pleasure in their life and what led them to make decisions. And I read the story, the overview of this book and how they've made decisions like big, huge business disasters. See, I didn't find any of that. None of that story is shown in these interviews on YouTube. There's no story I could find anywhere that shows all the disasters. Yes, I do know that Agneta and Bjorn were married, and Anna Frita and Benny were married, and I know that they both experienced a divorce and they continued to work together. That's all over everywhere. Everybody who is a true ABBA fan knows that story. And if you listen to the songs, you've heard about it in the lyrics. But I'm talking about massive business deals, people who came along and was trying to ride on the coats of their success, and big decisions that they made, and how many of those decisions were ego-driven, how many of those decisions were well thought out, how many of those decisions that led to success had lots of wise counsel, and where did they turn and seek for advice, how many of those decisions were made because they were afraid of missing out. And I can't wait to listen to every single minute of these 26 hours in this audiobook. Wow, this, my friends, is what's on my heart today. My obsession with ABBA, and how my obsession and my commitment to learning everything I can learn from the group ABBA is going to help me get even that much closer to pursuing my dream of filling stadiums with tens of thousands of people around the world, to share my voice with the world. Call me crazy if you will, but that's where my heart is. If you have a dream, and you're not afraid to get a little bit crazy, to get out there and dream big dreams, to tell the world just how big you want to play at life, come to Free the Dream. For those of you who are afraid to dream, that are freaked out about the idea of ever saying anything like I've shared in here, you just think there's no way. Okay, I don't even know that I could dream about filling a stadium with tens of thousands of people, let alone speak those words out loud. You can't even dream about, just leaving the day job or dropping off a major source of income and pursuing something different in life. You can't even dream those dreams, let alone tell people about it. Well, Free the Dream is for you as well. It's going to help you understand what it takes to break free from the limiting beliefs about who you are and what you are able to achieve in this world. Come and set your dream free at the Free the Dream Conference. It's in Franklin, Tennessee, September 7th, 8th, and 9th. I look forward to seeing you there. Get your ticket today, freethedream.live.